So I bought these smelling salts on the Jungle website in order, like, the whole purpose was to, like, give me a little before the show starts. And I think I got screwed because either my nose is broken or I just got screwed. Whatever. By the way, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. The reason why I do that is, like, sometimes I record way too late, as of, like, right now. It's 11 o'clock at night. Because that seems like that's the only time well, that's not true. That's not true. I was going to record earlier, but I got sucked into the whole YouTube algorithm whole. You watch one hiking video, and then it takes you to another one, and then you're like, yeah. Basically, what I ended up is Red Bull released a video, I don't know when it was, a couple months ago, of the dude that skied down Mount Everest without oxygen. That's crazy. So, yeah, I had to watch that. That was like a half hour of my life that I won't get back. It is pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. Did I say welcome to the Range Minded Podcast? I think I did. I'm your host, Steve Zimmerman. I've got a couple of things I want to talk about tonight as of this recording. And I was going to record this show yesterday. By the way, it's the 19th of February. I was going to record last night. Some other things came up. I've been really tired lately. I can't figure out what's going on. It's driving me nuts. But I did some research, been listening to a few different things. There's some important stuff that I think you all need to know about. Do I need to get closer? I can't tell. There's a few things I pulled out of the interwebs that I think will impact every one of us if we're not paying attention. I want to talk about the rare breed trigger and Hoffman tactical debacle. It's getting worse, especially for Tim Hoffman, and I also want to talk about some of the gun laws that are being pushed in various states. In fact, I'm going to go through all 50 states just to make sure you know if you live in a state that you think is red, but might having some issues. We're going to briefly visit every state. Some states are much, much worse. Virginia, California, Illinois. You know the gang. They're awfully willing to destroy the liberties of their citizenry. All right, let's start off with the rare breed. I'm going to be referencing my notes quite frequently. There's a lot to talk about here. First things first. Rare breed created a forced reset trigger, an FRT. What is an FRT? Maybe you don't know. Basically, it is a device that they created that goes into strictly AR-15 style weaponry, firearms. I hate the term weaponry sometimes. It doesn't matter. That during the cycle of operations of that particular firearm, it forces the trigger to reset and ready to make follow-up shots. It's a mechanical device, and it is not a fully automatic weapon. It is not defined by the ATF now. We're going to get into that as a fully auto firearm. So that's key to understand, because rare breed, man, bless their hearts. So as of right now, the FRT is completely legal because ATF got their hand slapped, and we're going to get into that. So back in the 2000s, a few years ago, gosh, my brain is not working. The ATF, so Rare Breed creates the FRT. They present it to the ATF. Their specialists look at it and say, yeah, this is totally cool. You can sell it. Any kind of firearm accessory that changes or manipulates any firing rate or suppressors or even new firearm designs, they all have to be approved by the ATF. It goes to their brainiacs in Virginia, I'm assuming, where they keep losing guns. So at the time, rare breed's cool. Everything's just nifty. Well, 2024, the ATF knocks on rare breed's door and say, hey, we no longer think that this is this now makes it's fully auto. Gosh, my brain is not working. Maybe that smelling salt was a bad idea. The ATF says, yeah, this is now considered a fully auto device. It must be registered, or everyone you sold it to needs to turn in their device, or they need to prove that they destroyed it, or you need to give us all of your sales records. And it goes through other places like Big Daddy Unlimited and some other places, right? It was a big deal. If you remember a couple years ago, it was a big deal. FRT says, screw you, we're not sharing our sales records, which I fully supported. In fact, the whole firearms community got behind Rare Breed Trigger. And we were all fully supportive of their defense against the ATF and the ATF's overreach. Well, then that brings us into Cargill with the whole bump stock thing, and the ATF got their little hand slapped and said, listen, ATF, the Supreme Court said, hey, you can't just change your mind and redefine something without congressional approval. It's Congress that has to make the decisions, not ATF. Great. That's fantastic. So Cargill, Rare Breed wins the case, right? It completely dropped. I don't even know if all of Rare Breed's customers have gotten their FRTs back. Last time I heard is the ATF lost some. They didn't. It was a big debacle. It was a mess. Of course it was a mess. It was the federal government, and not even the federal government. It was a bureau of the federal government, a bunch of stupid bureaucrats that always make a mess. So it was a win, right? It was a win for the community, and all of us, well, many of us, whether you think the FRT is cool or not, we supported a company that has a right to create a device that fits within the bounds that the ATF gave them, a completely legal device, and everybody should be able to own one, even if they don't want one, even if they think they're stupid. Okay? Now, part of the agreement with Rare Breed is there, as far as I understand, is they decided, or they told the ATF, we'll continue to make them for AR-15 style firearms, but we will not make them for handguns, which I think ATF for a very long time was very concerned about making any handgun, the rate of fire be increased. We're seeing how good they're doing on that now. That's a different story. So Rare Breed says, well, we won't make anything for handguns. Cool. Bing, bong, bing. The settlement's figured out. They're done, right? They're done. But part of the deal, as far as I understand, I'm not an attorney. I don't know for sure, but just some of the things I've been listening to and watching and researching, it sounds like part of the deal of the settlement was Rare Breed needs to really kind of push back on anybody that could be infringing on their patents. That's what it looks like. That's a problem. Why is the federal government using a private company to go after other companies? That's my concern here. Okay, now let's talk about Hoffman Tactical, Tim Hoffman. He's a young guy. He's in his 20s. I don't know if he's married or not. Smart kid. In fact, he's probably one of the top tier designers of these 3D print files out there. Just a smart kid, right? He was figuring out how to make things better, how to really detail these print files or CAD files, whatever you want to call them. But here's the kicker: is in his mindset, he thinks that there should be no gatekeeping. It should be available to anybody. And that's what he did. Either his files were really inexpensive or they were free, because he wanted them to be open source. All American, right? That's the way it should be. yeah, he's a pretty smart cat. Okay, excuse me. I really probably shouldn't have sniffed on those cheap smelling salts. Now, Tim creates something called the super safety, which I still don't completely understand how it works. I don't know if you need like Rare Breed's FRT and this particular device, or you can just put the super safety in your AR, which I think it is. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I really don't know much about it. I think you can just drop it in a standard AR. I don't know. You can say, hey, Steve, you're a moron. That's great. I hear it all the time anyways. So he creates this super safety. It's a 3D printable component, or I've seen or heard. I haven't seen. I have heard of people machining them out of metal parts, which is cool. Well, Rare Breed says, whoa, dog, something's wrong here. We don't like that. They really felt like it was an infringement on several of their patents. I'm not a patent attorney. I was watching a video of, I can't remember the dude's name, who is an attorney but not a patent attorney, going through some of the stuff. Nonetheless, ABC IP, which is the holding company for Rare Breed, which it's not fishy. Like lots of companies do that, corporations do that. It's not new, but they decided to file a lawsuit against Tim Hoffman. Now, this lawsuit that was filed from Rare Breed against Tim Hoffman covers a few different patents. And they're saying that the super safety directly infringes on the patents that they had filed, whatever time it was. And a little bit of backstory. So, Rare Breed approached him, or Hoffman Tactical, and said, hey, we're concerned about these few things. We want you to stop making them or providing them. And Tim's like, I'm guessing, he's like, whatever, they don't infringe on your patents, and I'm going to keep making them free. So there was a little bit of a settlement that they thought they had, but it didn't work out so well. That was in 2022. Now, Rare Breed cites that agreement in this lawsuit, saying, hey, this violates all sorts of stuff. Now, this comes down to, they're saying it's antitrust laws. That's what's being, or antitrust violations under the Sherman Act. They're saying that Hoffman's design, where he's got free designs available, is a conspiracy, and it's impairing, or it's flooding the market and impairing Rare Breed's ability to make money. Now, that video I watched today, Rare Breed is there. I'm totally in the wrong business. It's all open out there in the open. I wish I could. It's Steve. Oh, he's got a funny last name. Anyway, he was going through some of the financials, which are completely available and open. This is not groundbreaking. The Rare Breed. Yeah, I'm in the wrong business. There's a lot of money coming through that company. I'm not saying they're doing anything shady. I don't know. But I don't think Hoffman's sales are really impacting them too much. Anyway, I don't know exactly how the antitrust stuff works, but I thought it actually protected competition, made it better for everyone involved in the same kind of trade. But instead, this kind of looks like the ATF is using Rare Breed to go after other manufacturers in the same kind of deal. It's kind of like Apple getting sued by Android because their screens turn on when you touch them. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. And from what I can tell, or what I've heard, really the super safety, I mean, it's kind of a night and day thing compared to what Rare Breed has put out. It might be a portion of a patent that in fact, I don't think it's in the patent drawings. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to that particular stuff. I haven't seen the patent drawings. The other problem is Tim's been making videos about this whole debacle. And so Rare Breed is pissed that Tim Hoffman is talking about the lawsuit and other things, and they're saying that that's just another component of the conspiracy to keep them from making a profit and infringing on their patents and destroying their business, which, again, looks like they're doing just fine. Which they're saying that they want a gag order in place to keep Hoffman from talking about this. Well, now you're not just kicking him in the nuts on the business side. Now you're kicking him in the face to keep him from talking about it. You're infringing on his First Amendment rights. This stinks to me. Something's not right about this whole case. So that there's a few red flags. Like I say, something is not right with this case. There's more to it. It seems really odd. So, damages, right? Rare Breed is seeking 3 times. Let me look this up again. Triple for willing infringement. They want a ton they're trying to completely destroy Tim Hoffman. So they want triple of what the patent fee, like whatever their sales and the patent infringement is. They want court costs and attorney fees all put in there, plus a preliminary injunction. It's going to just destroy Hoffman. Whatever happened to the 2A community supporting each other? This something is not right here. Okay. Now, let's go back to 2025, right? The ATF and Rare Breed make a settlement. They make an agreement. They shake hands and say everything's okay. That was in May of 25. Okay. By December 23rd, the lawsuit drops against him. It seems odd to me. Is the government, particularly the ATF, are they pissed that there's companies out there doing design and innovation on firearms, and they know they can't go after them because they got their hand slapped by the Supreme Court, so they're using somebody in the private sector, a business that may or not have made an agreement with to go after other companies that are designing stuff for firearms? That's my concern. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it seems a little weird. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen. As far as I know, there's no official court date set up yet, but we'll see. So by January 26th, this is when the ATF actually jumps in and seemingly supporting Rare Breed on this thing. Okay. They're saying that they have an interest in this case, and they cite public safety. Of course they do. That's always, they said, I think, as long as this quote's right, says a strong interest in discouraging unregulated manufacture of forced reset triggers. Unregulated manufacture. So they're still really wanting to regulate these. They're still wanting them to be part of the NFA, which shouldn't exist. We all know that. There are zero crimes, as far as I'm aware of, associated to any of Tim Hoffman's designs and files. Why is the ATF supporting this lawsuit via a private manufacturer? I think, again, it's to crush the people out. It is to completely gut innovation in the 2A space. And we're going to get into something a little bit later that pisses me off. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Is this going to make it to the Supreme Court? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what about Cargill? Does this not apply here too? Like, I guess not, because they're using the whole patent infringement as the barrier, right? All right. Let's see. We already talked about that. By February 11th, 26, just a few days ago, the court grants the preliminary injunction. Tim cannot sell any files anymore, especially the super safety. It's completely shut off. He has no income stream. Maybe from his YouTube channel, but nothing from his website, his shop, nothing. Gone. Kind of convenient now that he's got court fees to pay for. He's got attorneys. He's got bills that are adding up. But now he has no way to make revenue off of stuff that he owns, intellectual property. That is kind of a pain in the ass, isn't it? That's very interesting. Now, I think on the 13th of this month, February, I'm pretty sure I know there was a Give Send Go. I don't know when it was initially set up, but there is a Give Send Go. If I can remember, I will put that in the first comment, the pinned comment of the video, or share it somehow. I'm sure if you go to Give Send Go and look up Tim Hoffman legal fees or something like that, you'll find it. It's ridiculous. I know the other day I was watching a John Crump live video, and just during that live stream, a good amount of money was raised for him, but I don't know exactly what's been raised up to this point. Again, this is where I'm really, really concerned about this case, and I think you guys should be very concerned about it as well. The ATF appears to be meddling in a private case over, I guess when it comes to patents, it may not be completely private, but the ATF seems to be meddling in a case between two companies over copyright or patent infringement. Why? We just quoted the ATF about how they had a significant interest in this case about unregulated forced reset trigger manufacturing. Why is the ATF involved? Are they financially supporting this case? I don't know, but something isn't right. And what really, really pisses me off, and this is really the sentiment that's going around, if you spend any time on even the YouTubes or Twitter or other places where this is getting more and more traction, you're going to hear people that are absolutely pissed at Rare Breed, as we should be. When Rare Breed was going through their case with the ATF, that was bullshit. And all of us in the 2A space rallied up behind them and supported them. Only for them to take a dump on their supporters and pretend like everything's hunky-dory. I believe, what's his name? I can't remember the dude's name now from Rare Breed, the guy that was doing all the videos and everything. He says that Hoffman has a cult-like following now. Well, I wonder why. I think his name's Lawrence. I wonder why. Because we supported you. We were 100% behind you, Rare Breed. And now you're just taking a giant, steaming, fly-ridden dump on the community. And now the community is going to stand behind Hoffman Tactical. And it'll go wherever it goes. But why? I better not say that. I better not say any more than that. Again, these are just my opinions. I don't know for sure. They're all theory. Okay? Yeah. Oh yeah, this is where I was going to go next. This is going to tie into the next half of the show. But there's a problem here. This is, again, if you're a hobbyist, if you are again, building firearms in your own home has been completely legal since before the United States was the United States. This is another avenue that the government is going to put pressure on the hobbyists, the do-it-yourselfers, the 3D printing community, this is another infringement on your Second Amendment rights, because this is impacting the availability of information. First Amendment infringements that bleed over into Second Amendment infringements. You need to be paying attention to this case and seeing where it goes. I'm going to be paying attention to it, and that way maybe I guess you don't have to. But I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, if you guys have been paying attention, if there's something I missed. Obviously, you can always find me on my Twitter account. I'm on there way too often, at range-minded, at range-minded, at range-minded on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call about it. You can comment on whether it's wherever you're watching this, if it's YouTube or Rumble, you can obviously comment down there. I'm really curious about what you guys think. If you think this is going to go in a terrible direction, what your opinions if the ATF's involved, if the federal government's maybe doing some shady stuff. I don't know. All right. Let me get a drink real quick and tell you about our sponsor. Just kidding. It's me. I'm the sponsor. Boy, that looked like product placement. I have no sponsors, by the way. No sponsors whatsoever. But if you want to help the show, you could always become a Patreon member. There's benefits there. It's $5 a month. It's not a huge commitment. The Patreon members can help me figure out the next patch that's going to come out. That's part of the perks. Plus, you get that patch before it goes on sale. So that's kind of nifty if you want to help out with that or whatever. You can also jump to the website, rangemindedpodcast.com. There's stuff for sale there too, some patches and things. Let's talk about this next thing. This is kind of a big deal. I was curious about the current state of the nation. Hey, the State of the Union was tonight, wasn't it? Oh, well. Or is that tomorrow? I don't care. I wanted to see how states were doing as far as gun laws. I'm sure you've heard Virginia's complete explosion of 2A infringement. California is obviously doing their thing. Illinois is always doing their thing. But there's other states that maybe aren't getting quite the publicity as they should. It's been crazy. So, and I shouldn't say there's other gun laws out there. There's some states that are actually opening up a little bit on 2A freedoms for their citizens. So that's good. I mean, it looks like Texas has opened up. Tennessee's done some stuff. Missouri's done some stuff. So that's great. But there's still all sorts of stuff going on. Okay. All this will tie together with the cargo case, with rare breed. All this stuff is all going to come together. Just trust me. Okay. Just trust me. So let's see here. California. We know that Moms Demand Action, which sounds like an X-rated website instead of a anti-gun group of cackling Karens, they love California. In fact, they give California an A+ rating on their gun laws. It's number one for their gun laws. But we also see how that's been turning out for them. And then Arkansas, apparently they suck. Like, they don't get a very good grade from every town, which is probably means that Arkansas is good for your 2A rights. But let's start with California. So I don't remember the name of the bill. I forgot to pull that up. Maybe it's in my show notes. I can't remember when I put these together. California decided they're going to regulate 3D printers. Oh, look at that. Ties right into this whole Hoffman thing. They decided that you need to get a special permission. It has to be on the roster, a lot like their handgun roster is in the state of California. 3D print manufacturers have to put firmware, whatever your hardware in the back end. California's used to getting it in the back end. Anyway, the printers that are going to be sold in this proposed bill, they have to not be able to print any kind of firearm component whatsoever. Printers are going to be regulated. You have to go through a background check. I'm assuming if it's going to be like the handgun roster, you probably have to have some special card. And the printers have to be attached or tethered to the manufacturer 24/7. So to know that nobody is manufacturing any kind of firearm component with their 3D printer. I'm sure that's fine. But if you're not breaking any laws, big deal, right? Well, how is this not an infringement on many levels? If you do want to print 3D print firearm parts, well, there's a Second Amendment infringement. There's a First Amendment infringement. Sounds like there's going to be a Fourth Amendment infringement, but California really doesn't care. It is absolutely nuts. So any kind of 3D printer or CNC machine, you're going to have some sort of licensing. I'm sure it's attached to a license. And it's going to be really, really ridiculous. I don't know what to tell you, California. You need to figure your shit out for reals. California is such a beautiful state, like landscape-wise, scenery-wise. And it just goes to show you, anything that the left touches, they just want to make it ugly and hideous. And then they'll say it's because of safety. In reality, they're just trying to make it a gross place and turn it into just some dumpster. It's such a mess in California. I feel bad for all you 2A friendly folks over there. Anyway, I'm assuming that this proposed bill obviously is trying to go after Glock switches and other things which are already federally restricted. I mean, if California would just actually execute the laws that they already have on the books and execute that law to the fullest extent to all those thugs that are breaking these federal laws and state laws that are already in place, put these kids in jail, like throw the book at them. You probably see a difference, but they're not real tough on crime. It's whatever. I know they're worried about this whole ghost gun thing. They're saying that a lot of firearms used in crimes are ghost guns, whatever. Again, home-built firearms are not illegal federally. Like, look at the Dexter Taylor case, right? When he got his door kicked in and the ATF was there with New York State and New York City folks, the ATF was like, there's nothing here. There's no case. He's not breaking any of our laws. Then they bounce. But New York gets pissed because he didn't file any paperwork. Listen, if you live in a left state, I highly encourage you to your bestest abilities to figure out a way to vote these morons out. Man, I don't know what to tell New York. Oh my gosh. New York, you guys are screwed. What a mess. All right. But California's not the only place. At least, as far as I know, California's the only one that's really trying to push this 3D printer ban. But other states are really pushing hard on your 2A rights. Let's move down. I compiled a state-by-state list of how things are going. We'll see. We'll see how they go. Let's just go state by state. We got a few minutes here. And we're going to go in alphabetical order. So Alabama, I guess Alabama banned Glock switches last year. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They're federally banned already. Again, execute the laws that you already have. Don't make new ones just to infringe on the rights of the law-abiding. So nothing's come farther than that. It doesn't sound like they have anything planned for 2026, but you never know. Alaska, nothing. They're not changing any of their laws. Arizona, I heard there were some rumblings in Arizona, but as far as I know, nothing's changing there. Arkansas, nope. We already talked about Arkansas. They're doing pretty good. Oh, California, we already talked about that. 3D printing laws. They also want to require gun shops to comply with updated assault weapons bans and definitions. They're targeting machine gun conversion devices. We already know that. I don't know why they're dealing with that. There's some ammunition stuff. They're always doing something in California. Colorado, my goodness, Colorado, what happened to you? You used to be such a constitutional state. My gosh. So, effective August 1st, there is a firearms safety. You have to take a course to get your eligibility card to be able to buy guns. You have to, let's see, let me just read this. Requirement for firearms safety course, eligibility card, and completion of basic extended firearms safety courses to purchase specified semi-automatic firearms. Hello? What part of infringement don't you understand? They're also really pushing military-style weapons bans. Listen, Colorado. Oh my gosh, fix your shit. Connecticut. Proposal to ban or sell importation of semi-automatic handguns capable of accepting illegal conversion devices. Glocks. Just Glocks. They're only worried about Glocks. 5-year felony if you have a possession, up to a $5,000 fine. Why not just execute the federal laws that exist? 10 years in federal prison. And that's they're specifically going after Glock. There are no other conversion devices out there, as far as I know, for other semi-auto handguns. Delaware, they're pushing, they passed a law in 2025 for permit to purchase, and that is going to go into effect this year. Florida. Why is it taking Florida so long, or why did it take Florida so long to open up their state for like open carry and all that? Why was this whole, I got to go fishing in order to carry a gun? Why did it take so long to fix that? Anyway, they passed a bill in the House to lower the age of purchasing from 21, long guns, rifles anyways, from 21 to 18. Hallelujah. Also, 18-year-olds can purchase from private sellers. Proposal to lower, lower firearms purchase age to 18. Campus carry laws, which would be great, like opening that up, would be great. Georgia, nothing new that's planned. Hawaii. They're still dealing with that sensitive places. Hawaii's just going to infringe. They're going to follow California. Like, there's no surprise there. My beautiful state, Idaho, I haven't heard anything that's planning on being changed. We just had an attempted terror attack today. That's kind of fun. We better, the assholes at large too, they better find him. We'll talk about that in a second. Illinois. Oh, goody. Illinois. Safe Storage Act. You must secure all guns around kids or prohibited persons, which you should anyways, but that shouldn't be a law. That should be common sense. Shorten police background checks. That's interesting. Passed for first-time offenders to get FOID cards. Okay, that's interesting. Indiana, nothing on the books. Iowa, no major or proposed gun laws this year, but recent repeals on school carry laws. So we need to have Jason from 3D Response on one day. We'll talk about campus carry and stuff like that. There's better options out there. I used to be a campus carry guy. A teacher should carry, but which is fine. I'm not against it, but there's other really good options out there. 3dresponse.com. Kansas, nothing new. Kentucky, nothing new. Louisiana, nothing new. Maine, of course. Red flag laws. Thanks, Maine. They will go into effect in a couple days, actually. February 21st. Red flag laws will be effective in Maine. Maryland, they're talking about a bill that prohibits manufacture, sell, or purchase or transfer of handguns that can be converted to fully automatic weapons. Again, they're trying to screw Glock. Pretty big deal. Glock is probably the highest sold firearm around the world. You take down that behemoth, others will follow. Massachusetts, they're increasing paperwork and legal requirements for ownership of assault weapons and such. The restrictions on gun ownership is for all firearms, but they're thinking about increasing the assault weapons restrictions in Massachusetts. Michigan doesn't sound like you're doing anything. Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, and Nebraska all not planning on doing anything. Nevada. How do you want me to say it? Nevada. They're talking about extreme risk laws, which are red flag laws, increased background checks, secure storage laws, domestic violence stuff, which is probably going to be, whatever, ghost gun prohibitions, if I can say that, and bump stock bans. Nevada used to be a pretty common sense state too, other than all the gambling, nudity, and whatever lasciviousness going on there. Come on, guys. New Hampshire, they're beefing up the Gun Industry Protections Act, which is interesting. That takes effect this year. Nothing new in New Jersey. That's still a shithole. New Mexico. Oh, New Mexico. They're planning on banning get this, if you haven't heard this. Planning on ban on the sale of gas-operated semi-automatics with detachable magazines. Gas-operated semi-autos. That's not just AR-15s. But they're not coming for your guns, by the way. They said they're not coming for your guns. Gas-operated. Tell me what firearms are gas-operated with detachable magazines? There's a lot. What's that? The Garand. There's the Mini 14. Obviously the AR, the AK. Man, there's so many. They're worried about anything with 10 round or greater magazine capacity, which is less than standard capacity. They are talking about restricting certain firearms transactions. They have extreme risk protection orders, which are red flag laws. They're increasing background checks, and they also want to do secure storage laws. New Mexico, you used to be such a good state as well. New York, they are trying to go after the 3D print stuff too. Of course, New York, my gosh, New York, you guys are in trouble. That is the least of your concerns. I would be more concerned about communism right now, at least in the city. North Carolina, they expanded concealed carry laws in North Carolina. Good job. North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, nothing's really changed. They haven't got anything in the works. Rhode Island, their assault weapons ban takes effect this year. Ban on new purchases of assault weapons. They can't define what an assault weapon is, but they will surely do their best to make sure law-abiding citizens can't have them. They don't care about thugs and gangsters and gangbangers. Nah, that doesn't matter. South Carolina, South Dakota, nothing's changed. Tennessee, they banned Glock switches last year, which takes effect this year, and some other manufacturing stuff. Like they're really, yeah. Texas, good job, Texas. If you're living in Texas, good job. They blocked cities from enforcing red flag laws, and they expanded access to short-barreled firearms. Good job, Texas. Utah, boy, oh boy. Utah, they're not changing anything, but let me tell you something, Utah. I used to live in Utah. You better figure it out. Utah is going to lose your Second Amendment rights. That is a gut feeling from me to you. You better figure something out real quick and make some fortifications in that state. You will have some of these same extremely restricted laws like we're seeing in California and New Mexico and Virginia and other places. It's coming, Utah. It's coming. You need to clean your house. You can mark my word on that. That it is coming. Vermont, they want to ban semi-automatic rifles, pistols, shotguns, and magazine capacity limits. What the hell, Vermont? You guys suck too. Also, mandatory storage requirements. Good job, Vermont. Good job. Oh, Virginia. I have a friend in Virginia. I feel so bad for her. She is a major 2A supporter, and she is just getting beat up over the state of Virginia's laws. Here we go. Virginia has the longest list, by the way. Bans on the import, sale, and manufacture, purchase, or transfer of any assault weapon. Large capacity magazines. It's a misdemeanor. Under 21, you're not allowed to have any kind of assault weapon, which under their definition of assault weapon, that's anything other than a toothpick launcher. Satire. Let's see. Sweeping package restricts assault style weapons, tightens storage and transfers, limits public carry, expanded industry liability. That's bullshit, but they're doing it. Magazine bans of anything greater than 10 rounds, which is, again, if it's a 10-round magazine, it's not even standard capacity, in my opinion. They changed some, it says alternate concealed carry permit applications, which I'm sure that restricts that. Adds intimate partners to family assault bans. So, yeah, you can't have an assault weapon, and neither can your boyfriend. Where your boyfriend at? Let's see. Misdemeanor for firearm possession and post-conviction allows transfers from prohibited persons to non-residents. So you can get rid of your guns to somebody else, I guess. Man, Virginia, you used to be... Where's all the moonshiners at? Like, isn't that in Virginia? Maybe not. But Virginia had some stalwart, staunch, even Democrats that were just staunch 2A. Where are you? What happened to you? Washington State, no surprise, assault weapons ban, but that's facing some challenges, it sounds like, which would be great. They're also talking about 3D print files and 3D printers. They want to be like California. Unlawful to manufacture, import, distribute, or sell any assault weapons. Come on, Washington. Quit smoking that weed and eating them shrooms. West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming, nothing. They're not going to change. Right? There's no proposed gun laws. I know that was like a ridiculous list. I don't know if you even care about the things. I don't know what state you're living in. And I'm dead serious with Utah. It is a gut feeling. You guys are about to get kicked in the nuts. Write it down. Steve said this on February 19th in his podcast that Utah is going to see some massive restrictions on your 2A rights. I feel it coming. It's coming. Listen, I don't know what state you guys live in. Maybe you're not even in this country and you don't care. The right of self-protection is not granted by the government. It is a God-given right. It's part of nature's laws. We see it in nature. An animal that's being attacked by another animal often protects itself, sometimes by extreme violence. Why are humans any different? Why should we not have that ability? The Second Amendment is not just about guns. I know that's kind of what we focus on in the 2A community, and outside people looking in, they think that the Second Amendment is just about guns. It is not. It is not. Look at the Caetano case. That was about stun guns. But it has a gun in it. It's not the same thing. You know what I'm talking about. It is any kind of tool that you use as a life-saving device, whether it be a knife, pepper spray, a stick, your hands, whatever. That is covered under the Second Amendment. Any kind of restriction on such is an infringement. And if you live inside or outside of the United States, you should really, especially outside, and some of the states within, I guess, you should really wonder why the government is restricting you. Your government is restricting you from defending yourself, your family, and your property. Is that in their self-interest? Why are they not caring about you? In the United States, we elect people who we think represent us. They are employees of the people. When I had employees and they didn't do what I asked them to do, they either got corrected or they got fired. Maybe it's time to do one of those two things if you live in a state. I know some of these are completely overwhelming. Like, You might not feel like if you live in Washington, Oregon, California, Virginia, now Illinois, any of these states that are really pushing hard against the Second Amendment, it probably feels overwhelming. It probably feels daunting. You probably feel like just moving. And I get it. I totally get it. Don't give up. Especially if you've been there. Like my house, I built this house with my bare hands. I did. I framed it. I trimmed it. Been here a while. If I had to leave my home, I would feel kind of shitty. I get it. Instead of leaving, may I propose something to you? Join your state-specific 2A group. Join a national organization. You might find that you are not alone in the way that you feel. You might find that there are thousands more just like you in your state. Maybe even in your community, in your city. There might be thousands of people that feel just like you. One voice, pretty quiet. Thousands of voices, that makes a difference. Why do you think these anti-ICE protests, these anti-Trump rallies, why do you think they're getting so much press? Well, they shouldn't be, for one. I think there's probably some outside funding, sure. It's because they're loud and obnoxious. Maybe it's our turn to be loud and obnoxious. At what point do we feel like our rights are in such jeopardy that we need to get involved? At what point? We are constantly being mocked, made fun of, threatened. I have never seen this level of projected violence and threats against conservatives ever. Yet the media chooses to find an old lady that's been missing in Arizona and not talk about what's really going on. That's kind of frustrating. I get it. It's somebody's mom, somebody's grandma. Awful. But that's what silver alerts are for. At what point do you say, this is my home, this is my community, these are my people? At what point do you stand up and say enough? I mentioned that Idaho, we had a attempted terror attack in Meridian, not very far from the range that I worked at over there. In fact, not very far at all. Some dude stole an ambulance, had it full of gas cans, crashed into the DHS building where DHS and ICE is a facility that they're using, and tried to blow the place up, tried to start it on fire with federal agents inside the building. This is Idaho. At what point is enough enough? You might not think this stuff will happen in your community. It's at this point, the hate is everywhere. And we are being propagandized at every moment. When is enough enough? That's up for you to decide. I'm going to let you go. We've talked way too long. I try to keep these under an hour, but it never seems to be that way. I love you guys. I really, really, really do care about who you are and where you live and what we all represent. We are all Americans. We are all children of liberty. Our founders were not stupid. They organized the Bill of Rights specifically in the order for a reason. They understood liberty. They understood discourse. They understood probably far more than we even give them credit for. I'm not saying that they were prophets or anything like that, but I'm not saying that either. I don't think they were stupid. They gave us this republic if we could keep it. Let's keep it. Okay? Okay, pumpkin? All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I love you. Stay safe. Make firearms ownership normal again. That's what it is, right? It's completely normal to be a firearms owner in this country. Let's make it that way again. Anyway, stay safe, stay armed, and as always, stay range-minded. I love you guys. I gotta go throw those smelling salts away. See ya. Peace out.
Hey boys, look what I got here.
Hey, where are the white women at?